Melissa Humana Paredes. 5 years later, they have teamed up. The timing of this partnership is perfect, and here they are, 5th place at home in the quarterfinals. Wouldn't want anything else.
Last centre court quarterfinal underway in the women's draw in the white tops. Kristen Nuss and Kloth battling to prove that they are worthy of an Olympic ticket for Paris 2024. Their results certainly suggest that they are, but it's matches like this against the newly formed partnership of Melissa Humana Paredes and Brandie Wilkerson of Canada in the red that will dictate, I think, where this US team can really go in the next season and a half. Solid first point on the board then for the Canadian pair to level the score, delivered by the left-hander Brandie Wilkerson, and the 31-year-old blocker heads back to the service line. She's been unveiling a kind of a hybrid topspin serve, but the giveaway is, does she drop her left knee in ahead of hitting that topspin? She does, and that gives the defenders just a little read about what's coming, and a nice put away from the USA.
And this has been one of the most productive off seasons of any player on the Beach Pro Tour for Brandie Wilkerson, because a couple years ago she did an interview with Riley McKibben. Riley said, "What's a superpower you'd like to add to your game?" She said jump serving and hand setting, and now we see her jump serving, and she's also hand setting, and so Mel is always in system. And what a swing from Melissa Humana Paredes, way out of system, finding that deep angle.
Formerly partnered with Sarah Pavan, took 2019 World Championship gold before they parted company at the start of this season, and since she's been with Brandie, they've managed a 5th in Doha, 5th in Tepic, 3rd in Ostrava, that win in Jumala, and then 5th in Start. They really haven't done very much wrong at all, but Travis, so many teams are out there that if you talk to them, they will tell you our focus is on gold in Paris 2024. What have Canada got to do if they're going to top the podium?
Well, they just need to continue to get their offensive chemistry down. Defense, not an issue for this Canadian team. Not when you have one of the best blockers in the world in Brandie, not when you have one of the best defenders in the world in Mel, and here we have it right there. Speaking of the devil, and she shall arise, there is the defense of this Canadian team. It's the streakiness of their offense that has been their Achilles heel. Now, granted, it's a very small Achilles heel. We've already seen them on the podium of an Elite 16 in Ostrava, their first medal together. We've already seen them won an AVP, but they just need to shore up a little bit of offensive inconsistencies, and they will be a medal favorite in Paris.
Whipped out of play by the USA. It's the perfect start for the home team as we go to our first side switch here on centre court in Montreal. For me, Travis, having watched both these teams quite a bit this season, I think they both have a very similar development that probably needs to be pushed to the fore, and that's the option ball hit from the taller player. I think Brandie's got to come to the party on that. I'd love to see Kloth bring that far more into her game. Good touch. Not the finish Canada wanted, so USA save the day.
And a tremendous opportunity on defense after this pull dig from Brandie. Look at these hands. Perfect pull dig from Brandie, and a really nice set there from Mel. But as you mentioned, Simon, the option, it's something that Taryn has been breaking out more and more and more. And what people forget about is that Taryn's only been playing beach for about 4 years. She transferred to LSU during that COVID year of 2020. So this is really just her 4th year playing beach full-time. She was a standout All-American at Creighton in Indiana. So she's so new to the game, and so adding options, and she continues to add skills to that tool belt, so to speak, and the option being one of them. So this year she started to do it with a little bit more frequency. And there's the superpower of Brandie Wilkerson.
She didn't drop her knee on that one and just cuts it right across the front of Kristen Nuss out to the sideline for the ace.
And there are certain serves I'm filing in the unpassable category. That is one of those, unpassable from Brandie Wilkerson.
Good high reach again on that ball. Very distinct blocking attempt there to go all the way across onto the diagonal, but as usual, very well spotted by Nuss. When the ball's in front of her, she's got great vision. Swing on the option. Brandie, though, still looks tight to me on that option swing. She's not quite managing to find that smooth left-handed flow into the corners with that hit.
And sure, her tendency is to option back towards the line, but if Kristen and Taryn are setting up in a line defense on Mel, that's the exact swing that's unavailable. And anytime it hits Kristen's platform, something good is going to happen for Kristen and Taryn, so you never want to be hitting it anywhere near Kristen's platform.
Wow. Good aggressive serve from Taryn Kloth, but what a comeback from Melissa Humana Paredes.
And in Canada's 9th place match against Kelly Chang and Sarah Hughes, that's something that we saw a lot of from Mel. She just started unloading in that third set towards the end, and it has worked out.
Wow. Carry called on Taryn Kloth. No real argument from the Americans. Round we go.
And that was a quick trigger. And Simon, we were talking about this before we started commentating today, that I think the American women get called on more lifts than any other federation combined. And that's because our college system, we teach low and slow hands. And in the U.S., that's totally fine. But we're going to have to start teaching hand setting to be a bit different because it just doesn't fly on the World Tour. And we saw a very costly lift in the 9th place round by Kelly Chang. And here we have another one from Taryn early in this one.
Nice adjustment from Taryn Kloth on that next set, but Kristen Nuss rolls the ball out of play, and this is dream territory for Canada. What a start from them.
And this is strange to see from Nuss, but she has so much confidence and swagger that even if they are to end up losing this first set, she knows that she's not going to side out like this ever again, really.
Finds the cut on Melissa. It's good enough. Melissa comes from good volleyball stock. Mum and Dad, Chilean expats that moved to Canada. Mum was a ballet dancer, but Dad was a beach volleyball coach and worked with bronze medalists John Child and Mark Heese. And they took that medal. First time that beach volleyball was a medal sport in Atlanta '96. And that is well done again. So going to the same cross-court shot, 2 in a row there, working out nicely for Nuss.
And that's 2 options we've seen from Brandie, and Nuss all over both of them. Was really patient in the line for the first one. Saw the angled shot coming. Really nice read by Nuss. Good timing and a really nice shot in return.
Good hand set from Brandie. And I mentioned that gold medal that Melissa won at the World Championships. We mustn't forget the World Championships silver medal that Brandie took last year in Rome with her former partner, Sophie Bukovic. Tremendous performance.
An incredible year last year for Brandie, and it just speaks to the level of Mel that, you know, Brandie wins a silver medal with Sophie.
Second ace for Brandie Wilkerson. The old jump serve's going well.
The superpower, that's the superpower she wanted to add to her skill set, and it is working out so well because Mel has a great jump serve as well. So the service pressure combined with the blocking, combined with the defense of Mel, this is, to me, it's the best defensive team in the world.
Just wide this time. Had tremendous support in Stade, the Canadian pair, once the Swiss teams were all knocked out. And the Stade fans cottoned on to the fact that Brandie Wilkerson was actually born in Lausanne. And they were right behind them, although they couldn't manage better than 5th. But they've just been solid. Every tournament they played, she goes back again to that line shot. Again, Nuss is there. Good recovery from Canada, but Kloth all over this one. Doesn't listen to the high line call. And another fantastic protracted rally comes to a close, this time in favour of the USA.
And this is why I love this crowd, Simon. The point didn't go in the way of Canada, and yet everyone knows that they just watched world-class beach volleyball, and they just gave it up for Kristen and Taryn. You can see Kristen again all over the options of Brandie. Dug 2 more in a row on that rally. So Brandie's options are 0 for 4 right now. Kristen all over it. I know that you mentioned that Brandie could be developing an option as the season goes on, but right now Mel's siding out so well that I think at this point, just set Mel, let her go on 3. She's been siding out so well.
Technical timeout, good 3-point lead for Canada. Yeah, it's a balancing act, isn't it, Travis? And it's organic. You can't just go in with plan A and stick to plan A in a beach volleyball match. There has to be developments and ideas that are traded.
And organic, that's a perfect word. And that's actually the word that Tri Bourne used when describing the development of him and Kame Schock, their partnership, because their coach was trying to get Kame to jump set a lot more. And Tri, he just goes, you know, it's not really part of our game. It's not organic, so they need to let it develop organically. And I like that Brandie's testing it out. They have a cushion right now, so it's a good time to try that out.
And I would score on that one with the bump set. It's just gone long from Melissa, and that's your issue. You know, if you hit a lot of option balls, your partner gets a little cold. We're going to have a look at this one, though. Referees come down from the stand, and I know you guys like this rule, getting the referee to come down and look at the ball mark.
And I love talking to Kristen and Taryn about the challenge system, because often they're going to be looking at the wrong ball mark. Now, when it's rainy and wet, it's very clear where the ball marks are. But when it's dry and the sand is splashing everywhere, a lot of times Taryn would say, well, can we challenge the mark that they use to look at for the challenge?
Greek first official, Mr. Halalampos, gets the bird from the crowd. Nice again. 5 from 5 in that case on the option. And USA can't make it count. More fabulous defense from Canada. Kloth has to swing again. And Melissa's on it again. What a rally. Canada firing it up.
And I just want to pause and listen to this crowd for a while. It's not often we hear a crowd like this in Montreal. Phenomenal stuff. And as exceptional as that rally was, I wouldn't expect any less between Mel and Brandie and Kristen and Taryn. Two of the best defensive teams in the world, just doing what they do best, and that is digging volleyballs.
Good serve. Great hustle from Team USA, but Canada have it again. Option taken into the block. Tried to vary the line this time. Has a good look at the corner, and that's excellent vision from Brandie Wilkerson.
And another rally, this one going the way of Canada. Now, these are the rallies that typically go the way of Kristen and Taryn almost every time. A good 70% of the long rallies are going to be won by Kristen and Taryn, because Kristen just digs and digs and digs and frustrates and exhausts the other team. But on the other side of the net, you have Mel, who just digs so many balls in a volume almost as high as Kristen. Then you have Brandie Wilkerson, one of the most dynamic athletic blockers out there. We're in for a treat, Simon.
Couldn't agree more. What a start to this one. So Nuss and Kloth call a timeout just to try and take a bit of a sting out of things here. It's always tough when you're in a cauldron of an atmosphere like this with the crowd just about 100% on the side of your opponents, which is the case here in Montreal. They got a test here, the number 3 seeds. Nuss and Kloth have to prove their worth yet again. 14-10 Canada in this race to 21. Another clever serve from Melissa. And another brilliant touch from her. Similarly from Nuss. That's just genius. I tell you what, what's all this rubbish about the blockers working harder than defenders? Defenders are just digging it up right now.
When you play Kristen Nuss, your defender better be ready to work. And Mel, in this instance, she is more than ready to work. The volume of digs she has in these first 25 points is extraordinary.
That's why they're trying to overload her. Again, Nuss reads the Brandie option. She's missed it. Wow. That's just an indicator of the pressure that this US pair are under right now.
And there's no, I talk about this a lot, there's no category for altered shots, but Brandie Wilkerson is altering so many shots from Kristen, where she's touching so many, and Mel is getting her hands on so many back there in defense, that Kristen, she's hit 4 or 5 errors just trying to be a bit too perfect.
She's definitely changed the dimensions on that jump serve. So many players have these little idiosyncrasies before they serve. Some of them, you know, it doesn't matter that it's there, it's fine. But there are some players that have them that I think affects how a serve works. Brandie seems to have got rid of that big dip before the throw-up, and she's just going straight into a high position, and she's nailing it. Whoa! Talking of getting nailed, that is a massive hit from Melissa.
That was some Chilean spice on that swing, Simon.
Oh, the crowd love it.
Gracious.
Fireball goes mad here in Montreal. That was a swing and a half from Melissa, and lest we forget, this is a player that has been right at the top of the world game with Sarah Pavon for a good number of years. She looks back to her best here. Change up to Kloth. Kloth cuts it out of play, and USA are really struggling at the moment with their direction in this match. Oh, it's just caught the block, is it?
Called it just a touch off the block of Brandie. I like that the up ref took his time with it, didn't rush into it. Thought he heard a touch, took a second, called the touch, but still the U.S. is in a hole right now. They need to find a way to earn points fast, because it is good volleyball play by Canada right now.
Well, right on cue, they pick up a couple of quick points to turn things around. They're not quite sure where they want to go at the moment. They've been trying to target Melissa because she's been getting through so much work. But Melissa's been brilliant so far. They stick on her. Bump set from Brandie. Yeah, it's another good play, and I just love watching two defenders at the top of their game really taking it to each other.
And that is exactly what we're watching right now. Defensively, it has been a virtuoso performance from both Mel and Kristen Nuss. Offensively, Canada just has the slight edge right now. A few too many errors for the USA, but I think it's a good sign that the U.S. is only down 3 despite the rash of errors in this set.
Again, good touch from Melissa. Superb play on from Canada, but just long from Brandie. It's a great lesson, Travis, for any young defenders watching right now, that these two defenders are making some incredible decisions based on the evidence in front of them, and they know where this ball is going or has to go, and that's what's so good to watch about the touches they're making. Two players waiting for the option. No one's going to get to that though. Brandie sticking with this second ball play, and it's starting to yield more points.
And that's the first successful option I think we've seen in 8 attempts. I think she's 1 for 8. The good thing about Brandie's option is that she's doing it enough that Taryn has to honor the option. And so Mel is going to be running that outside set, and Taryn's going to be late. So even though it hasn't been super efficient in terms of scoring, it's going to keep Taryn honest.
Brilliant pass from Nuss. Fabulous pickup from Melissa. And it's still in play. Brandie from a standing start. There is no better athlete out there to put that away.
I am loving this defensive battle we are seeing, Simon. Every point, it seems, is an insane rally. And there we just see Brandie just out-athleting everyone on the court right there. Unbelievable.
Do they go to Nuss again? They do. Line blocks, so Melissa sits in the pocket again. Picks that off fairly easily. Chance to go to set point. It's taken. This is some of the best beach volleyball Canada have played all season, and they've played some really good games. But this is another level.
And this is reminiscent of last night's match to finish pool play against Switzerland's Zoe Vergier-Dupre and Esme Bobner, where no matter what Zoe and Esme tried to do, Mel and Brandie had the counterpunch ready for it on defense. And that's what's happening right now with Kristen and Taryn, where Kristen and Taryn are trying everything. Mel is everywhere right now on defense.
USA to try and stay in the set. It's long, and that's it. 21-15. Wow, I didn't have that on my card. Stunning opening set from Canada. They took control, they kept control, and they've kept this Montreal crowd very happy indeed. They lead USA by 1-0.
And I think there's something to be said about playing on house money. And I think right now Mel and Brandie are playing on a bit of house money because they were down 8-4 in the third set earlier today against Kelly Chang and Sarah Hughes. When you're down 8-4 in a third set against a team of that caliber, that's typically, you can start writing the obituaries right there. They come back, they win, and now they're in a quarterfinal, somewhat unexpectedly playing. This is the best defensive set I've seen from Mel ever.
Now, you want to celebrate some of the play that we're seeing here today. You can stand out from the crowd and get your Elite 16 shirt. Montreal-inspired design by going to that QR code or visiting shop.volleyballworld.com. Wow, we can't guarantee that if you buy one of those shirts, you'll play like the players we're watching right now, but you'll certainly look like them. What's the start to this game? Canada in front of their adoring home fans. Melissa and Brandie lead this quarter-final match by a set to 0 over one of the standout teams of the Beach Pro Tour and its season and a half. Kristen Nuss and Kloth of the USA have got some serious work to do in this second set if they're going to recover this situation. And the woman in your picture, Melissa, is putting on a defense masterclass. A little over-ambitious from Brandie Wilkerson on the net. But that's the beauty of being a team that's consistently maintained their high standard of result-making on the Beach Pro Tour. We know that Kristen Nuss and Kloth are going to try and work a way through this match. Just need to quieten down the fans with a few decent points. Big groan from the crowd as Brandie misses that one. Fascinatingly, it has been a defensive battle, Travis, because the blockers have been taken out of the equation pretty much. There has been 0 block kills so far in this match from either team.
And that is one of the wilder stats at the end of that, because typically Brandie is going to be at the top of the blocking category in every tournament, and they played one of their best defense.
Big swing.
And there's a big swing from Mel into the angle. But as you mentioned, Simon, the blockers have been virtually taken out as both of the defenders are the ones being attacked right now. Both the defenders are the ones making the plays. I would expect Brandie to start inserting herself more and more and more into this match because she's such a matchup issue for Kristen. A typically shooty player, she has to go so high to get over the block of Brandie.
Foot fault. Can't step on that baseline when you serve. It was another really forceful delivery, though, from Brandie. So USA, very worst at the moment in this second set. They've got to match Canada point for point on the scoreboard. They can't let anything drift here early. That's nice ball control again from the Canadian pair, and I think Nuss was expecting Kloth to get hands on that one, and she held her position really deep in the angle.
And watch the precision of this shot. You have to be so precise with that to get just over and deep enough around the blocker, but not too deep that Kristen Nuss can go get it. Perfectly placed from Mel.
Great work from a US team who've rather broken the mould. If you think beaches of California as your home base to train and play, but these two have decided that New Orleans is the place to be.
And you will hear every post-match interview Kristen and Taryn do. They give Drew Hamilton, their magician of a coach, all the credit in the world. They trained with a pair of high schoolers down there and a couple guys in New Orleans. And maybe that's the secret sauce, Simon. Just everyone go to New Orleans and train with some high school girls and pick up a couple guys, and you'll be a world-class team.
Bit of beach volleyball, bit of jazz. I mean, seriously. That's plan A, isn't it? Now, watch this jump serve. It has definitely developed a little over the last couple of tournaments. And they've just decided to go after Kloth on this one, who comes back with a fearsome shot. That is world class from Melissa. And at last, we have a block. It's from Kloth to save the point.
And how can you not love watching Mel and Brandie? They just have those infectious smiles. Even after a block, Brandie and Mel still smiling at each other. It was a fantastic dig for Mel. Perfect opportunity. It was a good set, but Taryn Kloth was ready for that high line as the U.S. making all the right adjustments right now in this second set.
Good work. Nuss holding a position on that diagonal and then finding another exquisite kill, and we've got a little momentum swing here in favor of USA.
And those were the plays that eluded them in that opening set. These were the ones that Kristen was just hitting out of bounds in that opening set. And like I said, the swagger, the confidence of Kristen Nuss, she knows that she won't hit that many errors in the set for the rest of the day, probably the rest of this tournament. She knows that all those opportunities, they're going to start adding up in this second set.
Another great read from Nuss. She knew that ball couldn't go anywhere else, so she got herself to the plate. And then she's hit the most delightful jumbo to the line.
Again, just playing a game of horse out there. How many different ways can I score? Kristen Nuss finds a different way every single time. I just love the creativity because, like I said, they don't pass the on-paper test where you see a 5'6" defender trying to hit shots over and around a Brandie Wilkerson that are going to score when you have a lightning-fast defender such as Mel, and yet Kristen just finds a way every single match.
Now, right about now, Travis, I'll be making my usual kamikaze prediction that we're on our way to 3 sets, but we both watched Brandie and Melissa playing against Cheng and Hughes earlier today, so it doesn't really matter what lead Nuss and Kloth have. They're always going to be watching their back against these two.
I'm jumping on the kamikaze train with you, Simon. More out of hopes that we just get another 3-setter on Stadium Court here.
Oh, brilliant. That ball has been sliced and diced by Melissa.
And what I've loved about this match is that, sure, 21-15, that first set didn't seem that close, but the rallies that we had, the high-level volleyball, it was awesome. It was just awesome to watch, and we're getting another treat here in the second.
Good serve. Really good serve from Melissa, and she's worked it really well down the middle from the left side of court on a number of occasions now. It's tested Nuss.
And the good thing with Brandie Wilkerson developing the jump serve is now you have 2 different looks at the service line. You have Brandie's big jump serve, and now you have Mel's float, which is a dancing devil. As you can see, that thing jumping right into the seam again.
Beautiful. Wonderful stuff. She's found the corner with a jumbo one side. Now Nuss finds the corner on the other side to maintain the USA's advantage.
And Kristen just finding yet another different way to score. When I was commentating Sam Schachter and Dan Deering, I kept saying that Sam Schachter was finding every which way to score down the line. I want to see how many different ways Kristen Nuss gets a kill. She's had every jumbo, every line, every cut. It's amazing how creative she gets.
There you go. That's the kind of force that Brandie needs to be putting through that option ball. That was a really decisive swing.
And that is the option she's been working on. And credit to Brandie. Oftentimes when a player, she was 1 for 9, optioning prior to that, they would put that option away, and she just keeps going right back to it, knowing that at some point she's going to regress to the mean and get the kills, and that was a big one.
Loosens the arm for the jump serve. Well passed by Nuss. It's tight. Melissa on it. Ball funneled to her and just couldn't quite control it to the net.
And that's such a difficult play for a blocker to make, especially if Brandie were right-handed. Easier play to make because then the option's available, but being a lefty on the left with the ball dying on her right hand into the net, tough one to make. Again, Mel in the right position yet again.
Superb. Both defenders know that if they're going to pick that particular shot, they better hit it 100%.
And just such a nice snap on that, and perfect timing, good synchronicity on the movement on defense from Taryn and Kristen, where you saw as soon as Taryn made that dive into the angle, Kristen was sprinting to the line. Anything less than perfect, she gets the dig. And Mel, well, it's perfect.
Big serve, great pass again, and once more, she pulls off a really incredible shot. I mean, all ends up, you'd have had Melissa to make that play, but no, enough disguise on it from Nuss.
And Kristen keeps moving the ball around, going high line, high angle, shortcut, short line. She's mixed it up so much that Mel has to stay so planted and still. She can't cheat, and the moment she leans one way, she's going to get beat. As Kristen, she's doing such a good job of keeping the ball in play.
Dig in the pocket. This has to go away for USA. This time Mel gets arms on it. Got to come. Good touch, really good touch from Brandie. And again, USA refusing to give up the rally. Oh, superb from Nuss. And from Melissa. It's incredible. I cannot believe my eyes. The quality of beach volleyball we've seen today has been stunning. The quality of that rally was up there with the best.
Absolute madness. These are two of the best defensive teams in the world, and anybody who was wondering why I would consider them two of the best defensive teams in the world, all the questions were answered on that rally alone, as this match might set a record in the length, even if we just keep it in 2 sets, because every rally is 30 to 45 to a minute long.
Massive point for USA. That took them to that magic 3-point cushion. So it's Canada that have to find points on their own serve.
And to get a first ball side out kill right now is an impressive feat with the way that Mel and Kristen are playing on defense. This is a tremendous defensive battle.
Oh, wow. Well, Taryn Kloth has been largely frozen out of the side-out game, but this is a tremendous hit off a beautiful handset.
And one of the very few times she has been tested in serve receiving. That's why. And I think it was a good idea for Mel and Brandie to go to Taryn because Kristen was in a rhythm offensively. She'd sided out a fair amount on her first time of asking. Go to Taryn, and it'll be right back to Kristen after this technical timeout.
Montreal fans loving this and trying to raise the spirits of their team. And not for the first time today. We're watching a match in the early stages of the knockout phase that Travis probably could have been the gold medal final.
This part of the bracket was fully loaded. You had the 2, the 3, and the 4 seed all feeding into one another. And that's just the way these Elite 16s go sometimes. Teams 1 through 8, all pretty much a toss-up of who's going to win in this match. Dude, this is delivering even more than I would have hyped it up to be.
Again, Melissa holds her position cleverly. That's superb from Kloth. Quick reactions from Canada. Brandie still can't find the sand. And unfortunately for the USA, neither can Nuss.
So some of the best standards to shoot for is 6 digs per set. We're seeing 6 digs per rally right now between the US and Canada.
Incredible physicality. Well played. Very well played by Nuss. USA have a lead now that they can use to drag this match kicking and screaming into a 3rd set.
I'm always curious what Kristen sees when she hits shots like that, because that was clearly an angle defense by Canada, and I don't know if she just saw the slight lean from Mel that let her know that that baby line was open, but her vision is impeccable.
Just a little previous from Kloth, gets a piece of the net as part of her block.
And I'm wondering what happened there with Taryn. Maybe she caught it on the way up because the set, it didn't seem tight enough that she should have been that aggressive with the block. Sometimes you just catch it accidentally on the way up, and it's just one of the most unfortunate actions you can get because that was a good opportunity for the Americans.
Lovely sliding serve out to the line. Melissa's on this one again. had to put a lot of work in to get to that ball. Just couldn't quite follow through. Not getting as many transition kills in this set as she did in set one.
And I think set one was probably peak Canada in terms of them playing as best as they can. And at some point, you have to wonder how much fatigue is playing a factor. They had a big three-setter earlier today.
Well, maybe they're okay. That's a hell of a shot.
That is a big swing from Mel, but you can see even that first high line doesn't quite get over Taryn and goes really sharp with that angle. But I think the longer this match goes on, the more it's going to favor the very fresh legs of Kristen and Taryn. That first set was the first set they've dropped the entire tournament, so they are fresh coming in, had a bye earlier this morning.
Bit of Volleyball going on there. USA shut it down. And with every point that the USA win, you get a stronger and stronger feeling that it's going to require a tiebreaker to sort it out between these two teams.
Wouldn't expect any less between these two. The last several times they've played one another, it has gone 3. That's what you get when you have two of the top 4 teams in the world playing one another.
Out of system for Canada. It's tied. Kloth gets another one. Starting to come into the game now at the net more and more is Taryn Kloth.
And that begins with the service pressure as well. We saw Mel getting out of system, Brandie with the over-the-shoulder set, and that's a matchup that Taryn is going to win every single time. And a credit to Taryn, she had to wait until Mel touched that ball. The ball didn't get on the plane of the net, so she had to be patient, wait for Mel to touch it, and then have the redirect block. Really nice patience at the net from Taryn.
Using a 19-centimetre advantage there, Kloth, to great effect. Another streaky pass. Another great touch from Nuss. Chance to really pile the pressure on. And USA now looking very good indeed. And I think that fatigue element that you mentioned, Travis, might be coming in because Canada looked a little ragged in that rally.
You can see the big, deep breaths there from Melissa Jimenez-Paredes, and I'm getting a nice whiff of another 3-setter coming on center court here, Simon.
Smells great. Melissa with the pass. We're just into one of those games you don't want to end. That's a good touch, goodness me. More work for the defenders to do. Well, a great credit to these teams because at no point have they looked like the rallies have been lung busters, but they have been everything to do with busting the lungs. It's been so tough.
And there's been such a limited number of errors where we're seeing all the earned points. It isn't that Mel or Kristen or Taryn or Brandie are just mailing balls out of bounds. These are hard-earned points. They're all hard-earned.
Brandie dives in to take the ball. It's touched the block, so it has to be played over. Oh, it's going way out. That's another tremendous dig. That is just unbelievable. I mean, we have the advantage of the end on camera, Travis, because we can see it's going out. Down there on the sand, not quite as easy to judge.
And you get cold sweats as a player when you let a ball drop inbounds. And so when it's close, when in doubt, you always want to play it, especially when you're as strong of a side-out player as Brandie. But Kristen Nuss, how in the world are you supposed to score on her right now?
Well, Brandie's found a way via the hands of Kloth's block.
And still, the U.S. gets 2 touches on that. If we were doing a practice match where the only time you could score is getting a ball to the sand without anyone touching it, it would still be 0-0.
Yeah, that is a good call. Swing again. First error that Nuss has made in a long time, and she says net touch. Second referee agrees. Point USA. Apologies if you heard a bit of choice language there, but players want the win here, and it does look like it was the long ponytail of Brandie that brushed the net on that occasion, which I believe, Travis, is okay. That's allowable.
The ponytail is okay, and I think that the ponytail might have hit it at the same time that her forearm was pressed over the net, and so the ponytail might have been the actual infraction, but it looked like it did forearm.
So, in the end, good bit of game management there from Brandie Wilkinson. Just trying to buy a bit of time, trying to slow everything down here. Canada know they've got to go to the third set. They won't be going there just yet. But it's going to take a big shift to save it.
The good news on that net call is that it's going to be relatively inconsequential. It's just going to decide how big the margin of this second set is going to be decided by. You'd hate to see it at 19-19, but at 20-13, not the biggest deal in the world.
There we go, very businesslike in the end from the US pair. 21-14, what a way to hit back in the second set. It's felt like that for a while, but we are definitely going to the tiebreaker set now to decide who goes through to the semi-finals here in Montreal. And the worst part of it is, Travis, there's going to be a loser.
And the loser might be everyone watching this match who doesn't get more of it. This has been one of the best defensive matches I have seen in a long time. And I'll say it again and again, I think these are two of the best defensive teams in the world. Anytime you put these two together, you're going to have a long, just drag-out, knockout match coming your way. And look at the limited amount of errors. Just 8 for the U.S., 7. Well, there we have the updated screen there. 10 for Canada, 9 for the U.S. A lot of those coming at the service line. So all these earned points that we're seeing, they're hard-earned points via Mel and via Kristen for the most part. We've seen very few blocks. In this one, I think that Taryn's getting undercounted. I think she has about 3 blocks in this one by my count instead of the 1 she has on the official recording. But this has just been such a fun matchup between Mel and Kristen that I'm excited to watch for years and years.
You might just have seen the QR code there to scan, but you can also go to shop.volleyballworld.com to get hold of your Elite 16 Montreal-inspired playing attire. Away we go with the tiebreaker. It's the shootout to 15 to decide it between Canada, USA, and oh my goodness me, we just carry on where we left off. Dream defense from Melissa. First point in this race to 15 to Canada.
Well, if Mel is ever looking to put together a highlight reel showcasing her defensive abilities, she can just use most of this match and she's going to have about a 10-minute long highlight reel.
She might get a scholarship at the end of it. Again, she's on it. Too good. Canada's bounce back ability this week in Montreal has been nothing short of miraculous.
And they have the third man or third woman on their side with this Montreal crowd. They've been tremendous all week. Now we got a little sunshine peeking out. This is Elite 16 beach volleyball right here.
Shank pass out of play. It's a 3-point start for Canada, but as we so often see in the tiebreaker set, that quick start, Travis, doesn't necessarily guarantee you anything.
Doesn't guarantee you anything. We saw it earlier today. Mel and Brandie dug themselves an 8-4 hole in the third set. We saw it in the Stade Elite 16 when in the quarterfinals. They were up 8-4 in the third set. Granted, you always want a good start, but a set to 15, it just gets longer and longer and longer, especially when you have Kristen playing the defense that she is playing right now. There is no lead that is too safe.
Timeout called by Team USA as the Montreal wave heads around the stadium. Let's take a listen into the US team. Well, there we go. Not much to discuss. That certainly wasn't the game plan starting this tiebreaker set. So they've burnt their timeout early simply to get a restart. Can Canada keep piling the pressure on? Melissa to serve. Better pass from Nuss. Has a really good look at the defense, but Melissa takes it all away again. Oh, wow. Well, that feels like quite a big play to me.
A 4-0 lead. The psychological gap between 0-4 and 1-3 is so big, Simon. And again, it was just a perfect opportunity again for Canada. Nice in-system play, a huge break for the U.S.
Solid play, the call was line. Melissa decided not to go with it, but fortunately, Brandie Wilkerson is on hand for her first block of the match. Unbelievable, that.
Unbelievable is right. I cannot fathom that it has taken Brandie this long to get a single block, but that's a credit to what Kristen and Taryn have been doing. They have been avoiding Brandie at all costs. That is what has allowed Mel to get all of these digs. And look at this timing. She just waits, and then the swap block. One of the best shot blockers in the game, showing exactly why she's one of the best right there.
Big serve as well. Oh, well raced in. Really well done by Taryn Kloth.
And you could hear Mel on defense saying she's coming, but the problem is when Taryn's able to do something this unorthodox, it's impossible to read that. Finding the area right in between Brandie running up and Mel on defense. Nicely placed emergency shot there from Taryn.
They continue to work Melissa. That is a really nice run around to the line from Nuss. And this time Melissa reads that steep angle. I cannot believe what I'm watching. Lost for words, but I'm really glad I am watching it. It's another phenomenal Beach Pro Tour rally.
Oh my goodness, Simon. Just when I think that this defense can't get any better, Mel and Kristen take it up another notch. And the first set was decided because Canada was winning all the long rallies. The second one was decided because the U.S. started winning the long rallies. And now here we are 5-2 in the third because Mel and Brandie, again, winning the long rallies.
Yeah, nicely played. They needed to stop the scoring there, Team USA. They've done it.
And what the U.S. can take solace in right now is that they're down 5-3, but that's not due to a shortage of opportunities. They're getting chance after chance after chance on defense. It's just a matter of converting them.
Great swing. Brandie really thought about the option there, but what a bump set to produce after that.
And what I love about Mel's game is that as the match gets closer and closer and closer to that finish line, she starts getting more physical and more aggressive, and she just picks up her level of game so much. Towards the end of that three-setter earlier today, she just started ripping balls, and here we're seeing that happen again.
Ooh, that is close. What a leave from Nuss. Sends Taryn Kloth back to the line. There's an indication of just how zoned in these players are. They were absolutely clueless that it was time to switch ends. And round they go. Now, Travis, is what you see, what you get where Taryn Kloth is concerned. She looks to me like the most chilled player on the planet.
It is rare to see Taryn Kloth ruffled a bit. She is so cool, so calm, just a happy person out there. And after a loss, yeah, she'll be a little upset, but she doesn't lose very often, so she's very rarely upset.
Oh, not with blocking like that. Melissa goes again. Good save from Canada. Good save from Canada. This is a zone now. This is a part of the match where Canada have to dig really deep and keep that scoreboard ticking over with side outs.
And those are the plays you need to make to maintain this lead against Kristen and Taryn. You can't have the quick blocks. It's the short rallies that you want to limit if you're Canada. The longer you draw these out, the better you're going to look.
Nice footwork from Nuss, but doesn't get enough on the ball. Melissa with a relatively easy play and finishes it very well indeed. And Kloth, rather like Brandie Wilkerson, continues to just swat at thin air.
And again, the quick side out there from Mel on defense. The more she can start converting on the first time of asking in transition, the smoother this is going to be. But the 8-4 has not been a safe lead in the three setters this season.
but it might be about to be 9-4. Goodness me. Massive pull down on the net from Tara and Kloth, and Canada now have a lead that surely they can take to the bank.
9-4 Canada, the United States out of timeout. And with the way that Melissa Paredes is playing right now, I cannot see any way in which they lose this third set.
Not with serving like that. Oh, she has turned it on again. Looked a little tired towards the end of the second, but a second win for Melissa Paredes, and she's taking it away from USA.
And the thousands of fans in Montreal right now can take just a little bit of credit, I think, for this second win that this Canadian team is getting at home on center court.
Absolutely. This crowd has been fair, but they have definitely been onside with the Canadian duo, who look like they might be about to produce one of the best results of the season. And it's only to get through to the semi-finals. There's still more work to be done.
This quadrant of the bracket was so difficult, and credit to Mel and Brandie right now navigating it masterfully, knocking off one of the top teams in the world in Kelly Chang and Sarah Hughes, and now just 5 points away from doing it again to Kristen Nuss and Taryn Kloth.
Banged into the corner. Melissa just can't miss right now.
And for the US, they're running out of time to make adjustments, but with the way Mel is playing, they're going to have to test out Brandie at least once. But first, you need to side out, and that has come with a lot of difficulty in this third set.
It's a little underneath it, but generally speaking, Brandie's jump serving today has been really good. And it's been the perfect foil to the float serving of Melissa. It's been very difficult for Team USA to keep ringing those changes on the different type of pass they've got to make. Clever serve. Canada might get away with it, you know. Yeah, they do. That's another really good look from Brandie, just to see where Nuss was going.
And the lefty funk of Brandie Wilkerson right there. Everything about her body showed that she was going line. Then at the last second, just snaps that thumb down for a beautiful wrist away. And again, the covering of Canada right now, keeping Taryn limited at the net on blocks, has been a critical factor.
Got it again. She's just reading everything. This has been a sublime performance by both defenders, but Melissa in particular has looked like the genius we know she is.
And I think that she's making quite the case for the 2023 Defensive Player of the Year right now. This match alone is a good campaigning for Mel.
2 points away from what the organisers and the crowd want here in Montreal, a Canadian team to cheer on in the Final Four.
And I have to say, Simon, you know, there's no cheering in the press box, as we used to say in journalism school, but it is so fun when you have a home team on center court, when you have a crowd like this coming out. It just makes for a better tournament. It's so fun to watch this crowd cheer on Mel and Brandie, just to listen to the roars.
Good play, touch the block, so has to be bumped over. Good scramble from Melissa, a lot of ground to cover still. That's a great winner. And yeah, we're coming at it from the point of view of beach volleyball is the winner, Travis, and it has been exactly that today. Not just in this match, but across a whole range of brilliant performances.
And what's fascinating is that the scores of these sets have been so lopsided, but this has been one of my favorite matches I've watched all year, and we have match point Brandie Wilkerson.
Nuss to keep her team in it. Makes the play, but there's that luxury for Canada of having 6 opportunities to book their place in the last 4. And the Montreal crowd once again go to work. Kloth with the serve. Good pass from Melissa. This for the game. There it is. An astonishing performance. The second US team that Canada have beaten today. They've knocked off the number 2 seeds and they've knocked off the number 3 seed.